military leaders and President Vladimir Putin himself. The bill also imposes up to 100% tariffs on the 5 major purchases of Russian oil, like China, India, and Slovakia.
Let's do the right thing. Let's hold Putin accountable. And let's honor Lindsey Graham as we move this forward.
Lindsey would be proud of each of us and of all of our colleagues who are joining today. This sweeping sanctions bill has been long in the works.
I can think of few more fitting testaments than for this body to take up and pass overwhelmingly what I think should be known as the Lindsey Graham Russia Accountability Bill.
The president says there is talk about adding Iran and Hezbollah to the bill. He's optimistic it will ultimately pass.
A Seattle professor is under investigation after some alleged anti-Semitic comments were leaked to the public. Here's AFN's Caleb Castile.
A professor at Seattle Central College is being investigated after a message that says that he, quote, doesn't want Zionist Israelis sitting next to him have been brought to the light. David Quintero has been a Spanish professor at the college for 35 years, according to the college's website. Quintero says, quote, Zionist Israelis with dual citizenship are looking for work all over the world and the USA. So now we are going to have racist, genocidal, rapist killers sitting next to us? How do they pass the security background check? Accuracy in Media President Adam Gillette told the College Fix that even though the college says that they are running an investigation, that they, quote, simply want to sweep this issue under the rug. AIM did take the message right to his front doorstep, utilizing a mobile billboard truck and driving around the college campus in Quintero's neighborhood. Some of the people walking around his neighborhood had this to say.
What an idiot. Whoever you are an idiot. Well, he can quit. He does not have to work there.
At another location, the AIM team did have somebody point out that the quote calls out Zionists and not Jews. Gillette was quick to respond, bringing one of the professor's old social media posts up where Quintero states that, quote, you can no longer separate Zionism and Judaism. The passerby then had this to say.
That statement is terrible, and I don't know him personally, so sure. I can't say, but yes.
Based on this information, no bueno, you wouldn't be thrilled if your friend did that?
I would not be thrilled if my friend did that.
College spokesperson Adam Russell said that because the matter is under review, he was, quote, unable to comment on the process, findings, or any personal related matters. I'm Caleb Castile.
And if you're excited about the potential of Warner Brothers content on Paramount Plus, you'll have to tap the brakes a bit. The Writers Guild of America has become the latest group to challenge the merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers. It filed a lawsuit that seeks to block the merger on grounds that would cause specific harm to movie and TV writers in the U.S. The lawsuit comes a day after 12 attorneys general filed a lawsuit seeking to block the deal.
Mainline Protestant churches have softened and even rejected the Bible, the gospel of salvation, and biblical sexual morality. Even in evangelical churches, only about 10% of members have a truly biblical worldview. Satan desires to do to the Bible-believing evangelical churches what he did to the mainline churches, and he's made progress. Your financial support now is critical to AFA's efforts to defend and strengthen the church. Go online at afa.net/equipchurches.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today is Wednesday, July the 15th, 2026. And again, as always, we thank you for listening to AFR. Joining me in studio today is Ed Battagliano. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
Ed, back from a one-day break.
I worked from home yesterday.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
It wasn't a break.
It was not a break.
In fact, I usually wind up working. Never mind.
I want to get back to that. Wes, let me introduce the rest of this distinguished panel. Wesley Wildmon. Good morning, Wesley. What were you going to say about Ed?
I was about to say I usually work harder at home than I do at work, but that's not true. But I usually get more done at home than I do at work. Fewer interruptions at home.
Fred Jackson. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning.
Why are you laughing, Fred?
I'm just absorbing
You know, look, the bigots over in the news department.
Wow.
They just don't think anybody works as hard as they do.
We're already throwing around names like bigots.
Nobody seems to care about me. I got an injury.
Yeah, Wesley, what do you have to say about?
I have an injury. Nobody seems to care.
Oh, that's right.
You have an injury?
Yeah.
I did. I've bit my lip multiple times this morning. I'm having a hard time with that mumbling here. I mean, it is swollen.
You can mumble. Why are you biting your lip?
Not by accident. I'm eating breakfast. Y'all have all done it.
I've done it. And that's miserable.
It's very annoying. The good thing about it is your mouth heals pretty quick.
That's right.
So just
hopefully by tomorrow.
But you need a zippy. You have to
skip lunch. No more chewing.
Being on a talk show doesn't help the healing process.
No,
your mouth.
We've all done that. You're eating and then you end up doing it twice.
I usually bite my foot because it's usually in my mouth, but.
You know how the world has changed so much, and this was even going on before COVID. But with the the way everything's computerized and internet and everything like that, what you talked about working from home, which is a real thing, but my dad would not have accepted that. And the generation prior to us would not have accepted the idea.
That is an option.
Absolutely not.
Of working from home.
My dad would have just said, you're just slacking off. Get back in the office.
Get back to the office.
Your dad would have said that too.
That's what I'm saying. My dad, God rest his soul, he was
old school.
He was old school.
He was old school, but they didn't have the technology.
That's what I'm saying. Technology's changed everything. You don't have to be in a physical office somewhere to do the work you can do.
You got Zoom.
Yeah, you got Zoom. I mean, everything's changed.
And your dad lived it. I mean, I would come up here sometimes on a Saturday if I forgot something.
My dad, who founded the ministry.
Yes, Brother Don Wildmon. He'd be up here working on Saturdays. He was in here when I got here. He was in here in the office when I left.
He turned the lights on and he turned the lights off.
So that's the kind of... Now, what he probably would have said, this is the kind of thing I heard many times, everyone who's been here long enough has, that if we had ever said in devotion, for example, Brother Don, can we start working from home? He would say, fine, just don't come back in the next day. You can work from home tomorrow, sure. Just don't come back in.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That would have been his answer.
But I think things have changed from being bound to an office, which was the way before the internet and email and everything else, to just do your job.
Yeah.
Get your job done.
Get your job done.
And that idea was out there far before COVID, but COVID, it was the end-all, be-all.
Right. Right.
For anybody that was holding out.
A lot of things changed.
A lot of change.
Yeah. Although if you're a farmer, you can work from home.
I didn't catch
Am I right?
Yes, you can. I will say I was probably overly harsh with Fred and the news department. They don't ever work from home. That's what he was laughing at.
Oh, okay.
They don't ever work from home. They're always here. When we shut down, I'm talking about the news department. When we shut down the office, like when we have a long weekend, like we have a Monday off on a Labor Day or something, we'll let the staff go home at noon on Friday.
Right.
Not the news department.
No, because the news goes on.
The news goes on, and they're always here. So that's why he was.
Job security.
Although his smirk sometimes irritates me, Fred's. I do recognize. I do recognize the fact that our news department, they're the real deal.
You do have a smirk, Fred.
Do I?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me.
I'm trying to hide it.
It doesn't bother me, but it's a little Canadian smirk you got going on that I see Ed's talking about that. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Tim, Wesley, Ed, and Fred. Fred, what's our first news story?
Well, when I arrived at the office at 6 this morning.
Here we go.
And he's off.
Several big stories of the day. And right now, as we are here live on the air, the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, is before a Senate hearing because he would like to have the job full time. And just a few moments ago, he gave his opening statement. This is a little bit of what he had to say about his priorities in this job. Cut number one.
When a family can send their kids to school, walk their neighborhood after dark, and build a life without fear, every promise of the American dream is within reach. When they cannot, none of it is. That's my job, securing safety for every American. I'm pleased to testify again today to tell everybody here that we are doing just that. We are keeping America safe. Since President Trump took office, it's been said a few times this morning already, but it bears repeating, murders are down roughly 20% nationwide. We have the lowest murder rate since 1900. Violent crime arrests are up nearly 114%. We've taken almost 5,000 child predators and human traffickers off the streets.
Well, that record probably will not be the topic for Democrats today. They don't like Todd Blanche. They've made that very clear in the last several weeks. They believe that he is nothing more than a puppet for President Donald Trump. That's one of the accusations being made. One of the questions he expected, and he was ready for an answer this morning, had to deal with the investigation, the Epstein files, et cetera, and he responded to that much the way that we have responded around here. The Biden administration had the Epstein files for 4 years and did nothing, and now they're crying, saying they want complete transparency.
Yes.
So Todd Blanche gets a lot of praise from a lot of different people, and they're Jonathan Turley, one of the legal experts on Fox, and others. They believe he'll be able to handle himself well today, and that he will do the job that President Trump wants him to do.
Those are significant numbers. 5,000, he said, child predators.
Right.
You got that, and you got of course, shutting the border down and deportation. I know we wish that Congress would do more on that, because the president is limited, but he's doing what he can. President Trump and his administration is doing what they can with executive orders to shut down the border and deal with crime. You look what Trump could do in D.C., and he did that just within a couple months. And there's a lot on that front that's not being discussed as much. And I'm glad, and I think this is an opportunity for him to bring some of that back to the news.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Todd Blanche is going to succeed, should he be confirmed, and I think he will, probably be along party lines.
Yeah.
53-47, probably be the score for his confirmation. But he will succeed Pam Bondi.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What, I don't think there's anything that can stop him. There's nothing.
It's just, if it's vote along party lines.
It'll be party lines.
Yeah.
That's the way things are today.
And there may be a few Democrats who just see
Fetterman.
that see this for what it is. It's just, political gamesmanship. And you want to look good.
Fetterman will be the only Democrat that'll vote for him.
I hope that's not true, but he's usually pretty fair-minded. So you'd think that this would be, to me, okay, you drag the opponent's nominee over the coals, you make your speeches, for your reelection campaign, but then you got to vote on the man's qualifications. I wish there would be a lot more Democrats who would say, all right, we had our say. Well, we don't like this guy because we don't like the president who nominated him, but to be fair, we're going to vote for him. But we probably won't. It'll probably be almost strictly along party lines.
Yeah. Well, I like him. I've liked him, Todd Blanche, I'm talking about, since he held that press conference about the Southern Poverty Law Center indictments.
Yep.
Because he exposed a lot of problems with that organization
that deserve the attention of the Attorney General's office.
But anyway, so he's having a hearing today. Again, the Democrats will say what they say, and that's what we've come to in this country is basically presidential nominees for staffing. Of course, this is a high-profile position. Attorney General is a cabinet position, but it's come down to what team are you on.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is today. Go ahead.
One of the other matters that Todd Blanche mentioned in his opening statement, and I was a little surprised that he would put it in the opening statement, He said he'll be investigating, and I'm paraphrasing to a certain extent here, the previous administration, the previous Attorney General and his department, and their weaponization of that department against political enemies. And we all know what he's talking about with that. And I think we're already starting to see that, because there is an investigation into what the special prosecutor Smith, remember him?
Jack Smith?
Jack Smith was doing, how far he went. The allegations are out there that he went much further than the law would allow him in going after individual lawmakers, checking their messages. Spying.
47 of them.
47 of them.
I bet they were all Republicans.
Some of them, no. There were a few Democrats apparently too. But
who said two?
Yeah.
For those who don't remember, Jack Smith was the special prosecutor who went after President Trump when he wasn't president, between the two terms, and he was charged with investigating about the January 6th?
January 6th, and also the documents at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, that's when they raided the home and all that. Yeah.
And Trump's numbers skyrocketed.
Yes, I mean that. You talk about backfiring.
Mm-hmm.
That whole but now what we're talking about is Jack Smith. Is he having to appear before Congress, or is this just?
Well, there's talk about him being subpoenaed and to come in. We'll have to wait and see. Now, he has appeared before, and one of the allegations is that he did not tell the whole truth when he was under oath.
Okay.
As to the extent of his investigation.
All right.
And it's also possible, there's reports, President Trump is doing an address to the nation tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. There's been some talk that he will review some of the findings thus far in the weaponization of the former Attorney General's department.
And in the 2020 election.
Yes.
How does President Trump feel about that?
Well,
the 2020 election, I haven't heard him talk much on that.
We can go back and find some audio.
He believes
What does he
the
believe,
election
Ed?
happened.
He believed it happened?
Yeah, there was an election in 2020.
Yeah.
I think we're going to find out that
Thursday
what I've been reading in social media, and you know that's always true, is the expectation is that the Department of Justice has been reviewing, and he will reveal in his speech tomorrow night that foreign nations were active in trying to turn the election results illegally, obviously, against him, like Trump against Trump. So that remains to be seen. Now, my wife and I are going to be visiting my in-laws. I'm going to have to figure out a way to sneak away and listen to the speech. Fortunately, he only speaks for 15 or 20 minutes when he speaks.
What are you going to say, Wesley?
I was going to ask, I got a joke and, something facetious and then a serious question for Ed. Serious question, how long do you think is it going to last? Seriously.
You're talking about my trip to visit my in-laws?
Depends on the food.
Yeah, depends on the food. Does politics come up? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
is it an hour speech?
I think it's going to be a long speech.
But it's not a set time.
No, I don't think so. Okay. No, it's President Trump. Even if he has an official speech, he hardly ever seems to stick with a speech. He ad-libs. So I don't know. That's what I've been reading on social media, is that they expect that to be part of the whatever subject matter he discusses tomorrow night.
And next, other question. So what you're reading is what's the number one easiest way to explain that foreign countries interfered with in what way? What's the number one way?
I do not know.
Okay.
I don't know. I do not know the answer
financially
to that. Or maybe on social media using bots and false information. I'm not sure what kind of smoking gun there's going to be, and it may not be that.
I'm not over Pennsylvania still, so
yeah. I mean those kind of things. We'll wait to see. I don't want to say anything in advance because there have been people sued, about if they make comments about voting machines and things like that. So we'll wait to hear what the president has to say. He may just be talking about Iran. I don't know.
No, I think, well,
he'll do both.
I thought maybe he would talk about the war, and he might, but from what the promotion is, he's going to talk about what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
And, so we'll see what happens there. You're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Is that tomorrow?
Yep.
Tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening. Okay.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Central.
Well, good. It was going to be kind of boring this summer. We're in between hunting seasons and sports seasons, and we needed a Trump Thursday night.
Summer's not easy for a lot of reasons.
I hope there's some new information that is
solid,
substantial. This isn't a Trump sings his greatest hits.
Well, he'll lose the audience
quickly.
Yeah, quickly if it's not anything new.
Put it this way: it doesn't need to be a Pam Bondi. We got the files.
Right.
On my desk.
On my desk.
All right.
Remember that one?
Yeah, that was.
All right, I'm going to take I want to take the over under.
Okay.
From you guys on the number of the times Trump will use the word rigged. Okay. How many times, Ed?
You mean if he does talk about 2020?
2020, I want to know your number, the number of times we hear the word rigged.
I'll say 10. 10 times.
Wesley?
8.
Fred, rigged.
I'll say 7.
7 rigged.
What about you, Tim?
I
know you want to go astronomical.
No,
don't you?
I'm going to say.
Be reasonable.
I'm going to go with 8.
Okay.
Is that what you said, Wesley?
I said 8, yeah.
I'm going to say 8. Rig. The word rig will be used 8 times tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
The over/under.
Tomorrow.
The over/under. All right.
Not that we do that, folks.
No, it's for entertainment purposes only. Whatever that means. I hear that all the time when describing.
That means you can't prosecute us for breaking the law.
When describing gambling.
Yeah.
Gambling terminology, the over/under. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues. Fred, what is it?
I don't even know what that means, over and under.
It means if you're going to, I don't do this, I don't gamble,
right.
Okay, at all. So, but I do understand
the terminology.
What it means. It means if you're going to bet, you're going to bet, okay, is he going to use the
8 or more?
Yes. Over. If you're going to bet the over, you're betting that Trump is going to say rigged more than 8 times.
Okay.
If you're going to bet the under, then you're going to say
what if you think it's going to be exactly 8? What's the term for that?
Bus.
That's you bingo.
Start over.
Bingo.
You bingo.
Yeah, your bingo card.
That's official terminology.
That's official. No, I don't know. I don't know if it. Maybe you get your money back. I don't know what that means. All right, Fred.
All right, you guys talked a little bit about the war with Iran.
What war?
What war?
Chapter 29.
29.
Well, the page has turned again, even from yesterday about this time, when we were reporting that Trump was threatening to charge fees on ships using the Strait of Hormuz. In exchange, he said he said the United States would be the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz.
Then he said he's just kidding.
Yeah. Well, he backed away from that.
You pulled the punchline. You stole the punchline.
I'm sorry.
He's
Go
not
ahead,
there
Fred.
yet.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes. He's modified that stance a little bit. Now he's going to work out new trade deals with countries like UAE and Kuwait and others, where they end up paying. So I mean that's today's plan. So we'll see what happens.
I thought we were going to open the strait. We're opening the strait for money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
You pay, you play.
Yeah. That's right. You pay, you sail.
Right. You sail.
Yeah.
The blockade was reinitiated against Iranian ships. The blockade was reinitiated yesterday afternoon. And fairly extensive bombing overnight. And also, I learned this morning that they are not only bombing at night, but they're doing daytime bombings now. And I was listening to a military expert, and that says that has a greater intimidation factor on the enemy when they can then show these videos real time during the day. Here's what we're doing. And they did, but one of the targets was apparently where a lot of Iranian soldiers were, and there were fatalities there. So that is what's going on. In the midst of all of that, President Trump last night did an interview with Trey Yingst. He is a fantastic reporter for Fox. Normally you see him in Tel Aviv, but he was in Washington, D.C. last night. And Trey Yingst asked the president about his relationship with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. And cut number 3, I'll let you listen to it. Cut number 3.
Have you ruled out endorsing a candidate other than Netanyahu?
Well, I'd rather not be political, but I can tell you one thing. He was a great wartime prime minister. We fought well together. We beat some very tough customers, and the odds were pretty much against us.
How would you describe your relationship?
Great. Great. I think it's really great. I mean, we have little disputes, but I think it's a great relationship. Look, we've done a great thing. If it weren't for me, and he will tell you this, Israel, I don't believe would exist right now.
Oh. I don't think he will tell you that. But you can think that if you want to. Huh? What does he mean?
You want me
What
to
is,
sit this one out, Wesley?
Just let him.
Okay.
Okay.
We weren't whispering.
Seems like I'm against President Trump, and I'm not.
Right.
I'm not. Once again, I'm not. But if you're going to tell me that I can't criticize President Trump when it's
I'm not saying that.
I know.
I'm not saying that.
But we got some listeners out there that they are like rabid. You say anything negative about President Trump, they're going to jump down your throat.
I think it's getting farther and fewer between. I think he's getting harder and harder to defend on stuff like that.
Well, listen,
some of his statements.
I appreciate a lot of what he said right there, but then he closes by saying, if it wasn't for me, Israel wouldn't exist.
Right now.
Am I misquoting him?
But I will say what we talked about this in show paper, just for context. He's referring to this. Though if he didn't get involved, he shouldn't say he. We know that. What he's saying is, if he didn't get involved, then he believes that Iran would have taken out Israel by now,
or severely damaged.
Yeah.
He said no, guys.
Okay,
you were what he said they would not exist. That's not severely damaged. A few drones dropped here and there. He said Israel would not exist without him.
Right now.
Now.
He didn't say right now.
I think
yes, he did.
He
did say that at the end.
He did say that. He said that at the end.
We can come back and play.
We'll come back and play it again.
Okay. Anyway, I don't want to harp on this.
I know you don't.
I don't want to harp on this because I will get the wrath of the listeners who feel like I am criticizing God's anointed.
And those that feel that way, I'm taking Dad's popcorn away.
So. You take my popcorn away. Hey, listen, I love most of what President Trump does and says, but then sometimes he gets just carried away with himself. We'll be back momentarily.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
The Spirit immediately drove him out into the wilderness, and he was in the wilderness 40 days, tempted by Satan. And he was with the wild beast, and the angels ministered to him. The wilderness spoken of in the temptation experience of Jesus is unlike the conception most Americans have of a wilderness. When the word wilderness is spoken, we usually associate it with a region of tremendous undergrowth and trees. The wilderness which Jesus faced was one of rolling hills, nearly barren of any growth. Tradition places the area where Jesus spent his 40 days in the wilderness as being between Jerusalem and the Dead Sea. It's an almost treeless area of scant vegetation, except during the rainy season when grass grows. The area is some 15 miles wide and 35 miles long. A visitor to the Holy Land today can see to the north of Jericho the traditional Mount of Temptation. Supposedly, this is the mountain spoken of in the wilderness experience. The temptation of Jesus followed immediately on the heels of his baptism. We are told that he was led by the Holy Spirit into the desert. Christ had made a public confession of his faith in God. Now that faith was to be tested. Christ needed to know before he set out on the journey if he had the requirements to finish the journey. He was to later remind his followers, no man sets out to build a building unless he first counts the cost to see if he will be able to finish it. It was lonely in the wilderness. Jesus went in alone. He knew that the time would come when he would have to make important decisions alone. He had to prepare himself for that time. We're told that for 40 days he fought the struggle with his tempter. He had no other to help him in his struggle there in that wilderness except for the presence of God. During these days, Jesus went without food. It was while he was extremely hungry that he was tempted to use his power to turn stones into bread. But Christ refused. It was the beginning of a pattern to be used throughout the whole of his public ministry. He would never use his power in a selfish manner. This pattern reached its pinnacle at the cross when he refused to excuse himself from the suffering and dying. It was in the wilderness that Jesus fought his greatest battle. It was here that he first set his face toward Jerusalem. It was here, alone and hungry, that Jesus conquered his supreme test. He did not break. He did not bend. He had been called to a high and holy task. He met and defeated his tempter. Now he was prepared to go back into the world. There is a wilderness experience for each of us. There is a time when, faced with which road of life to follow, we fight the struggle within the depths of our very own heart. Other battles will follow, but the major battle of our life is out in the wilderness when we are alone and hungry. The temptations we face, like those of Christ, are always extremely attractive. The wilderness is a very ugly and desolate place, and the temptations are extremely tempting. Few win out over the temptations of the wilderness, but those who do can walk toward Jerusalem and a waiting cross. For their life belongs to God, and it is His power which sustains them.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, we've got some great tours lined up for March of 2027. We've got one tour we call the Footsteps of Paul tour. That's mainly in Greece, or only in Greece, including Athens and Corinth and Thessalonica. And then we've got a separate tour to Italy, where we're going to Venice and Florence and Pisa and Rome and all the sites of Italy. So you can do both of these tours if you want to. We've arranged that as well. Also, this tour of Italy, it's not like the Olive Garden tour of Italy, you know. We're really going there to Italy to see Italy and to eat Italian food too as well. So for information on any of the tours I've mentioned here, go to tours.afa.net. Tours.afa.net, tours.afa.net.
Finally, all of you should be of one mind. Sympathize with each other. Love each other as brothers and sisters. Be tender-hearted and keep a humble attitude. 1 Peter 3:8.
This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred. We will play the comments of President Donald J. Trump one more time here, because I was corrected by my colleagues. They said I misunderstood what he said, and maybe so. I admit.
It can happen occasionally. You make a mistake.
Yes. Go ahead. Play the comments, President
Have
Trump.
you ruled out endorsing a candidate other than Netanyahu?
Well, I'd rather not be political, but I can tell you one thing. He was a great wartime prime minister. We fought well together. We beat some very tough customers, and the odds were pretty much against us.
How would you describe your relationship?
Great. Great. I think it's really great. I mean, We have little disputes, but I think it's a great relationship. Look, we've done a great thing. If it weren't for me, and he will tell you this, Israel, I don't believe would exist right now.
Okay, so he said right now.
Yeah. But now you're thinking about the first time, about a month ago, he made a similar comment, and he did not specify, but you kind of read between the lines that that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So Fred, I'm just saying, it's
Fred, what do you think about what he just said?
Ah, that was so close. I thought you were going to next story.
I
thought you were going to next story.
Well, I do want to go next story, and we have Jenna as our guest. I just wanted your thoughts on what he said there.
Well,
he did say they have a great relationship.
He did say they have a great relationship, and he admitted they have had some tests of that relationship in recent days. I don't like the idea. The nation of Israel exists because of God, not because some politician is responsible for its existence. Israel exists today, right now, because of God's protection, not because of the United States military. God may have used the United States military to help out. That's the way I would provide the context for that. But for someone to say it wouldn't exist other than, it exists because of what I have done. Any politician that would say that, whether it's Democrat or Republican, I think, I don't know the president's heart at that moment when he made that comment last night, but if he believes that Israel would have been blown off the face of the earth unless I provided the military cover for it, that's wrong. Israel, I believe, will continue to exist until the Lord returns again.
It's the difference between will and instrumentality. And what I mean by that is, it is the will of God that Israel does exist as a nation and will continue to exist. Instrumentality is the means by which God sometimes accomplishes that.
Yes.
So it was always God's will for Israel to return to its land out of captivity.
Mm-hmm.
He happened to use Cyrus, king of Persia.
Yes.
Okay. Cyrus cannot say, he might have, but it's not theologically correct to say, I will that they return, and that's the only reason they return.
Mm-hmm.
No, God used Cyrus to allow them to return. And I think God used President Trump and has used President Trump in a lot of ways to help Israel and to recognize in Jerusalem, the capital, all those kind of things, opening up an embassy in Jerusalem. No other president had been willing to do that. And maybe President Trump knows the distinction, but he is prone to shoot from the hip kind of thing. And maybe sometimes says something that he doesn't necessarily believe, but it's the will of God that Israel exists.
Yes.
Just one thing to keep in mind: the Israeli Air Force did a lot too a few months ago when this all started.
Right.
And they've taken out a lot of the leadership there in Iran. So they took this very seriously because they were the ones that felt most threatened by a potential nuclear weapon being used against them. Go ahead, Wesley.
And am I wrong here? Did they not also have a lot of the pregame or the intelligence?
They do.
Yeah, I'm talking about
where
that
things
help
are.
us.
Yes.
Help them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. We work the United States and Israel work together on this, and on this war against Iran. And remember, Israel suffered some consequences. I mean, they had rockets fired at them, drones fired at, used against them. So I don't think that's happened in recent weeks or maybe months, but it did. Remember that? Remember all that?
Yeah, sure.
So it did happen. You're listening to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Joining us now is Jenna Ellis. Jenna is host of Jenna Ellis in the Morning, heard weekdays 7 to 8 o'clock Central Time right here on American Family Radio. Good morning, Jenna.
Good morning. Great to join you guys.
Did you hear what we're talking about?
I did, and I just have to say that, I feel for you trying to interpret what Trump is saying, because often I'm not sure he knows what he's saying, and so, that's a totally fair position.
Yeah. Well, we know he does have a history of Ed calls it shooting from the hip, and I've heard a lot of his supporters, and I'm one of them, say, you know, I like a lot of his policies, but his mouth just gets him in trouble with even his friends sometimes. Hey, Jenna, I want to talk about the gentleman who's before Congress right now, Todd Blanche, who is set to become the next Attorney General of the United States. That is the top law enforcement official, other than the president, in our country. What do you know about him, and do you think he will be a good AG?
I do think he'll be a good AG, and I think he will be a better enforcer, frankly, than Pam Bondi. And you know, a lot of criticism, or some skepticism maybe is a better word, that's been focused on him has been focused on the fact that his party registration was Democrat for years, but that, I think, largely reflected the time he was practicing law in New York. There's a friend of mine who actually ran under the Democrat ticket this past primary in Colorado, unfortunately lost to a crazy person for AG in Colorado, Jenna Griswold, who you'll remember is the Secretary of State currently, who tried to kick Trump off the ballot, all that. She won the Democrat nomination for AG, very sadly. But my friend who was running against her, I actually had worked for during my time at the Colorado AG's office under a Republican. And for the same reason that my friend's name is Michael Dougherty, is a Democrat, doesn't reflect so much his view on law enforcement, on law and order, because he's been a career prosecutor, but because he's from New York, and that tends to be, unfortunately, where they're from. So I don't think overall, just in my experience in the criminal law world, that just being a former Democrat is an indication of what Todd Blanche will think on law and order, because that's really the first issue of an AG. His professional career has generally been that of a federal prosecutor and a white-collar defense attorney, rather than more of an ideological activist.
Yeah, you're right about the voter registration. He may have been a Democrat, but if you live in New York City,
President Trump was. He was a Democrat for many years.
Yeah.
And no one should ever call him an ideological activist on anything. I don't think he's ideological at all, as much as just a pragmatist.
So Todd Blanche, they probably know. Well, he served as President Trump's personal lawyer for just like you did, right?
Yes. And so Blanche represented Trump in a lot of the civil issues that happened in New York and everything post 2020. So he had a very close relationship as a lawyer with President Trump. And so more so, though, than that, I don't think that defending Trump necessarily predicts how he'll govern, because some criticism, on the other hand, says, well, he'll be more concerned about loyalty than he will about actually enforcing the law. I think that was, in part, Pam Bondi's primary flaw. But representing Trump as a criminal defense attorney actually tells us very little about Blanche's philosophy as an AG, because every defendant is entitled to counsel, and lawyers often represent clients whose politics or perspectives they don't necessarily share. So I think the more useful evidence is what he's actually done running the Justice Department since Pam Bondi's departure. And the publicly available record says and suggests, I think, that he will be tougher than Pam Bondi and a good AG, because his emphasis has been on immigration enforcement, border security, violent crime, expanding federal law enforcement resources, rather than more broad civil litigation priorities. And so I think he at least appears to be less like a traditional political operative, or just somebody that Trump picked because he's a loyalist, and more like a career federal prosecutor who has become closely aligned with Trump. And that's pretty much exactly who you'd want in that position.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, and you answered it in part at least. What is for those who don't know, people know that the Attorney General of the United States is an important position. It is a cabinet level position. But what is the number one job of the AG?
Well, it's for law enforcement, and so
Okay.
he's the nation's chief law enforcement officer, and so the AG leads the Department of Justice, enforces federal law, prosecutes federal crimes, and also defends the United States in court when the United States is actually a party to the case, and also advises the president and the executive branch on legal matters. The White House counsel obviously does that as well, but from a little bit different posture. But also the AG oversees federal law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, the U.S. Marshal Service, and the Bureau of Prisons as well.
Ed, any?
Well, listen, I think that the Attorney General's position, Jenna, I remember from years ago in high school and college, us arguing about this in class, in our different, political science venues. There's this belief that the Attorney General's office should be independent of the president because the Attorney General, I think this actually goes back to the Nixon years, that the Attorney General might have to investigate the president one day for some illegal doings. But the fact of the matter is, as far back as I can remember, all the way back to John F. Kennedy, the AG has to be able to work with the president, so they have to be on the same page. They can't be completely independent. And because the AG is, in effect, a position, even though it's a cabinet level position, has to be able to carry out the president's desires in terms of, are we going to prosecute like this administration is? The Trump administration has taken, for example, child trafficking very seriously, and the Biden administration not so much. So the AG does carry out the wishes of the president. Well, what's your feeling on that, though? I mean, should it be more independent or what?
Yeah, I think the nuanced and the constitutionally appropriate answer is that the AG should be independent in the application of the law, but not independent of the Constitution's chain of accountability. So the Constitution vests executive power in the president pursuant to Article 2. So the AG is appointed by and accountable to the president, and the president, of course, sets policy agenda. But independence means exercising legal judgment without political favoritism, but still not operating outside of presidential authority. So I think that's the distinction that often gets lost in public debate, because there's a difference between policy direction, like focusing on setting law enforcement priorities, versus using the Justice Department as a political weapon. And then when you get to case-specific prosecutorial decisions, those should be grounded in evidence, legal standards, and equal application of the law. And that's where the independence needs to be set in, because justice, if you are truly pursuing justice, as any prosecutor at any level should, that requires legal independence from policy priorities.
I think that's the first time in the history of this show we've ever had somebody say, quote, pursuant to Article 2. Which, she pulled that out.
Absolutely.
Yes, Your Honor.
Pursuant to Article 2. You know what? Talking about the Constitution, obviously.
Right.
All right, Jenna, what do you got coming up tomorrow on Jenna Ellis in the Morning?
Oh, I am so excited about this. So
Okay.
we actually have, if you have been following the Lieutenant Governor of, I believe he is in Indiana. I could be totally wrong on that. But if you have been following at all Micah Beckwith, he is a rising political star, and he's a lieutenant governor and has posted against mosques being in America, for godly leadership. And I was actually connected to him by a mutual friend yesterday. So he's going to be on at the top of the program tomorrow and talking about service in that kind of capacity. So I'm really excited to have that conversation with him. And then I'm also going to be talking with the NRB's CEO, Troy Miller, who always has really great perspectives.
Okay. All right, that's Jenna Ellis in the Morning, weekdays, 7 to 8 o'clock Central Time, right here on American Family Radio. All right, Jenna, take care. Thanks for being on with us.
Pursuant to today's issues, absolutely,
All
it's
right.
a pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jenna.
All right, that's Jenna Ellis joining us from the Sunshine State.
And you should be proud. The fact that we have Jenna on the air at that 7 o'clock spot. That was your idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, mine, and it's shared with Walker.
Oh, okay.
He
took a little humility there.
Well,
I've noticed that.
I don't,
You don't brag.
I don't like to brag.
Yeah.
I don't like to. It's unbecoming.
Did he really? Did Walker really have a little influence?
Yeah, he did.
there?
Well, when Sandy Rio stepped down, she told me she was stepping, after 10 years of being on the air in the morning, she said, Tim,
going to podcast.
I love this job, but I want to go to podcast because then I can do it on my own time.
She doesn't have to get up at 4 in the morning.
Right, exactly. So I said, no, you're not quitting on me.
That's right.
To Sandy.
And she gave you another couple months, or?
Sandy was older than me. She said, don't disrespect your elders. So anyway, no, Sandy gave us 10 years.
Yeah.
And she said, so we said, well, what are we going to do? Yeah. We have a very important time on our schedule, weekday mornings. That's a big deal because people start their day listening to what's happening, And so Walker was already listening to Jenna, I think, on podcasting, and she was already doing some other work for some other Christian radio. So we approached her, and she said, we prayed about it, and she said yes. So Jenna's been with us. Is it 3 years now or 4? Something like that.
Well, I just give Sandy some credit too, because it did work out for us and her that she said, find somebody and then we'll go from there. She didn't just say,
yes, that's true.
She didn't give her 2 weeks notice.
Yeah. She could have, and people do that, and that's fine. But she went above and beyond and was like, take your time, but
So actually, it sounds like it's Walker that we should be applauding.
I said Walker and I worked together on finding Jenna Ellis for the show.
Yeah.
I think that's what we want to rewind and play the clip.
like the Trump clip. Do you want to be corrected, Ed?
No,
in real time?
Let's just
rewind
move
what I
on.
said.
We've already probably given them far and above enough time to this issue.
All right.
I think we should move on.
Here we go.
Fred, what's our next story?
The Democratic Socialists of America.
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking, a couple of years ago, if I had mentioned that, it would be a big yawn.
Yeah.
They probably held conventions in a phone booth. Some people don't remember what a phone booth is. But today, they are a fairly serious force in politics in this country. So much so, they are announcing their platform today, Democratic Socialists of America, things like universal daycare, universal Medicare for everybody.
Good, it's free.
Right,
yeah.
free
housing for everybody.
Yes.
We're going to get rid of the Senate, they say.
Where's this announcement taking place today?
Not in a phone booth.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Bernie Sanders' crowd, which is growing and growing and growing. In fact, everybody's talking about a primary coming up in Michigan on August the 4th, 2 weeks from next Tuesday. And looking at some of the candidates there, and there is suspicion that a Democratic socialist could win that primary. They've already won some primaries in other jurisdictions. Hugh Hewitt is one of the political advisors, commentators on Fox, and he kind of gives us a preview of what's going on in Michigan in advance of this primary. Cut number 7.
It's a fascinating primary in Michigan, Lawrence, for a number of reasons. You've got about 200,000 Muslims in Michigan who are mostly Arab American. Got about 100,000 Jews in Michigan. They're going to vote overwhelmingly for Stevens. She's heavily backed by AIPAC. She's very pro-Israel. El Sayed very critical of Israel. But I go back to 2016 when Hillary Clinton mixed it up with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders won the Michigan primary in 2016. Now, President Trump carried Michigan handily in 2024. It's the swingiest of swing states. But this race is so close that you'll get one poll for Dr. El Sayed, you'll get another poll from Congresswoman Stevens. That cringe video coming as it does just before early voting gets going in about a week, that hurts Haley Stevens badly. But poor Michigan people, they can't turn on the TV without seeing an ad about Dr. Sayed or a doctor or how he's leading or what he thinks about Israel or why Haley Stevens got the support of AIPAC. So hard to call this one. I'm not putting much stock in the polls, because the margin of error gets it very, very close. It's going to be cliche of cliches, turnout election, but the kids in Ann Arbor aren't there. El Sayed needs to win Detroit and Ann Arbor, and the students aren't back yet. El Sayed is a Go Blue guy. He's a Michigan guy. So it's just too close to call. Classic turnout. Classic. Mike Rogers is going to win this anyway, but will the man of the far left beat the woman of the left? We'll see.
Okay, what he's talking about right there is the U.S. Senate seat in the state of Michigan, and he's talking about the Democrat primary.
Yes.
Coming up in 2 weeks. Is that what he said?
August the 4th.
So you have a Jewish man, and you have a woman who's against Israel?
Yeah, well, the one being talked about is this Dr. Abdul al-Sayed, all right?
Is that a guy or a woman?
That is a guy.
That's a guy.
That's a guy.
Okay.
And he is the one that's getting a lot of press.
Okay.
He has no use for Israel, basically that we shouldn't support them.
Is he like an Arab from Detroit or something?
Yes.
Okay.
You heard Hewitt mention there are some 200,000 Muslims in Michigan.
Big population.
Big population.
So what's the other person?
Well, there's Mallory McMorrow, and then the Haley Stevens.
Yes.
So there's three of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we don't know
Those
who's
are the
we don't know who's going to win that.
Nominees.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are we bringing this up for?
Well, it's because of the political force that the Democratic Socialists of America are evolving in this country. And it's interesting. I was reading a story a couple of weeks ago. The demographic being attracted to this movement, many of them are white young females. They, when you often see them, the Democratic Socialists of America being praised, it is young white females.
Why is that?
I don't know whether they're attracted to universal daycare,
There's a lot of
Medicare, or,
yeah, I mean, but you wouldn't find that in Alabama, right?
Probably not.
Probably where they live.
Yes. It has a lot to do with where they are. They have been very successful in New York, state of New York so far. And you're going to see more. I mean, these are the people who believe in AOC.
Well, listen, let me remind
like
folks that Bernie Sanders almost won the Democrat nomination for president in 2020. 20.
That's right.
I mean, he was neck and neck with Biden. So the Democrat Socialist.
And I even thought that he got done wrong.
Yeah. He got booted by the Democrat establishment. Basically, is what happened. They had enough power, at least back then, to keep him from being at the top of the ticket. I'm talking about Bernie Sanders. But his wing of the Democrat Party is now reflecting, I would argue, the majority.
55, 45,
of the voters in the Democrat Party. So we'll be back momentarily with more of today's issues. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Missionaries are going into all the world to make disciples, and Exploring Missions is going with them.
Radio crosses those borders, so radio is not only not of the devil, it's a great tool to get to those unreached people groups.
Exploring Missions with Bert and Nathan Harper, Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. and Sundays at noon Central on American Family Radio.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
For American Family News, I'm Chris Woodward. A confirmation hearing is underway for Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche. He has been serving as acting Attorney General since President Trump and Pam Bondi parted ways. Democrats, including Senator Dick Durbin, say they want answers.
I need to know some of these cases which are now being reported, controversial cases where he was representing the president personally as well as in office, and real questions as to whether or not he went too far.
Responding to this on Fox News Channel, legal contributor Jonathan Turley said that's rich coming from Democrats.
You know, many of these senators, like Dick Durbin, supported people like Eric Holder, who said he was the wingman of the president. He's one of the most political attorney generals in history. Many of these Democratic senators said nothing about the targeting of political enemies during the Obama and particularly the Biden years.
There's also a confirmation hearing today for National Intelligence Director nominee Jay Clayton. A French news service says there is a band of white Democratic pastors who want to rescue Jesus from the MAGA movement, although it declines to name the group. AFN Steve Jordahl has more.
The AFP says, quote, no fewer than 7 white clergy or ministers in training representing the Democrat Party are vying for congressional seats. They are led, of course, by Texas senatorial candidate James Tallarico, whose theology contains this nugget of wisdom.
God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
What all these candidates seem to have in common, according to AFP, is that they are pro-LGBT, pro-abortion, and pro-undocumented or illegal immigrant, and, of course, so is their Jesus. But Dr. Alex McFarland of Exploring the Word on AFR says that's not the Jesus he finds in the Bible.
To the Tallaricos of the world, they should look up Luke 6:46, where Jesus asks people, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do the things I say?
He says part of the reason the Democrat Party is in the identity crisis it's in, and America's moral compass seems to be following close behind, is because of so-called pastors like these.
America is in the dire straits in which we find ourselves right now because of decades of liberal, woke, Bible-denying pastors.
McFarland says, to be clear, Jesus is not a Republican either. But if, as a Christian, you're going to invest your vote, it should be in a candidate with biblical values. I'm Steve Jordahl.
Well, the House has passed the Sunshine Protection Act, a bill that would make daylight saving time permanent. Here's Fox's Carly Shimkus.
It now heads to the Senate, and if passed, Americans would no longer have a chance to change their clocks twice a year, but it would also allow states to opt out. President Trump has been pushing to get the legislation passed, writing in May, quote, it's time that people can stop worrying about the clock. We are going with the far more popular alternative, saving daylight, which gives you a longer, brighter day. And who can be against that? This is an easy one.
And New York State will not build big data centers for a year as it looks at concerns about water, energy, and climate. Governor Kathy Hochul made the announcement yesterday.
These data centers require millions of gallons of water, straining the local supplies. And when powered by fossil fuels, they drive up our carbon footprint. They drive up costs for local ratepayers. And I refuse to let those costs be passed on to New Yorkers who already pay too much for their utility bills.
Responding to this on Fox and Friends, Energy Secretary Chris Wright said Hochul has it all wrong.
The energy is expensive in New York and now sparse because of bad Democrat policies, nothing to do with data centers. In fact, that's the solution, not the problem.
Mississippi Republican Governor Tate Reeves has also expressed criticism of New York's actions. Find more news on AFN.net. Thanks for listening.
If we lose this cultural war, we're going to have a hedonistic, humanistic society.
Discover the story of the culture warrior Don Wildmon and how he went head-to-head with Hollywood, Playboy, the homosexual agenda, and the Disney empire. The movement Don started paved the way for Christians to boldly stand for truth and righteousness in a hostile culture. Watch Culture Warrior today for free. Visit culturewarrior.movie.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues. It's the name of this here show on American Family Radio. Today's Issues. We're here for another 24 and a half minutes. I'm Tim with Ed and Wesley. That last name's really not important. It's the content of what we say that matters.
That's right.
Steve Paisley Jordahl.
Hey.
Good morning. Or Steve texting Jordahl. That's
Yeah.
what you say.
I'm
Tell me
asking,
when you're through, and I'll introduce you.
No, go ahead and introduce me. I'm getting ready for a.
You mean you can text and co-host a show at the same time?
I can. I am multifaceted.
I can't do that and walk. I have to stop when I text now.
Oh, I do the same thing. I stop.
Stop. Don't keep walking while you're texting. I mean, you stop too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to fall off some stairs or hit a wall.
And I have enough problem avoiding that.
I'm not
when I'm not looking at my phone.
I'm not walking, to be honest. That would be a little bit too far.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead. Introduce me and...
I already did. See there?
Okay.
You're not paying attention.
Hey, everybody.
Now, I will say this, Steve. Tim loves to catch someone texting while the show is going on.
Right.
I was there. I'm
but
here.
He does it fairly often. When his dear wife texts him on the show, he goes right for the phone to answer.
I have no problem. I answer my wife every time she texts me as well.
Hey. So,
all right.
It's like I tell people, I may be the boss now, but at 5 o'clock I go home to my boss. So,
that puts a whole new spin on Abe Hamilton's full-time job.
Right.
Right. What did he say?
Right.
Leave your part-time job to go to your full-time job.
Yeah, raising the family.
That puts a whole new spin on that.
All right. So where were we? Hey, by the way, do you guys know that the soccer World Cup is the final game set? Did you know this?
Didn't know this.
I knew it was down to 2 teams, but after Norway got knocked out, with Erling Haaland.
Jordal is a Norwegian name, so I was rooting for Norway.
I was rooting for Norway, and after they got knocked out by England, I stopped paying attention. But I do know it's down to 2 teams. Who are they?
I'll tell you in just a moment. Wesley wanted to comment.
I just think it's hilarious. I now have been flashback over the years. I'm big into sports. I enjoy coaching. And just to hear how some people decide who they're cheering for when it's not their team and how selective that was very specific on your part. Why is it you were cheering for who?
Norway, because Jordal is a Norwegian name.
There you go. See, that's
That's Steve's people.
And this is how much I was cheering for them. I have yet to watch a second of World Cup football.
Well, now I've just watched clips.
Okay.
And I just want to make this clear. I am now back to not caring at all about soccer.
There you go.
Okay, well, let me just tell you guys that the rest of the world does care.
They do. And a pretty good chunk of our country.
So my wife's cousin's husband is a college soccer coach.
Okay.
Wow.
And I got to spend some time with him over 4th of July weekend, and he got to explain a little bit of it, and we watched a little bit of it, and I began to, at least at minimum, even though it's not my thing, it's not my sport, I've got 3 or 4 others I keep up with. I begin to have a much better appreciation for the sport itself, of the athleticism and the speed and the endurance that these players have.
The endurance is
off the charts.
Off the charts. The cardio takes and the agility.
And he explained a couple things to me, so I picked up on it. So I've watched 2 or 3 games.
The problem I have with soccer is they don't score enough. So that's just personal bias,
Yeah.
A lot of people don't care. They love 1-0. It's a great defensive matchup. But what I wanted to say was, by the way, your name Jordal is Norwegian.
It is.
Wesley, our heritage is British Isles, namely England. Did you know this?
I did not
know
this.
Some Scottish and Irish, but
I can't tell if you're
joking. No, I'm not kidding.
Okay.
I looked it up, and it's been handed down to me.
23andMe or
by
what
my
else?
family. Well, I know it's your aunt.
Okay.
So
She did do that.
So yeah. So anyway, that's a majority of Americans' families trace back to Great Britain. That's we're British colonies, right?
Right.
So that makes sense, right? So, it's England versus Argentina.
Oh.
England versus Argentina.
And they have a history.
The Falkland Island War.
And other things.
Okay.
So now, in Argentina is they're top player is the world's top soccer player, right? Or one of them.
Is he still playing for them?
Mesa?
Messa?
Messi?
Messi.
Okay.
Messi. He's like the LeBron James of or whatever. Whoever you consider the best player in the Michael Jordan of.
Please.
Of,
I care about the NBA about as much these days.
Right. So it's England versus Argentina.
Okay.
But you know what I found interesting is that, and this will be held in New York City, right?
I think so, yeah. MetLife Stadium, I think.
I think MetLife Stadium. So this is they've been playing this for a month now, and it's down to 2 teams out of from the whole planet.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
A lot of teams
Pretty
participated.
amazing. And, it's not divided up into, as I mentioned before, into population categories. You know how high schools are divided by how many students go there? You
Yeah,
got a
division.
6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, whatever, to make it fair.
Yeah.
You know, the fairness of the World Cup is, in terms of population, doesn't exist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's your country. We don't have, you have 5 people or 5 million.
Yep.
You know, 5 people, you wouldn't be able to field a team. But anyway, so it's England versus Argentina for the World Cup. And England.
They knocked out Norway.
They knocked out Norway, but England, they don't. England and Wales have 2 different soccer teams.
Yeah. And Scotland.
And Scotland, they have their own soccer team.
Made a big impact over here.
And Ireland has their own soccer
fans.
team. So imagine if they just had Great Britain as a. So anyway.
You know what I find fascinating
What do you
about
find
soccer?
fascinating about soccer, Ed?
Nothing.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
I think you've said that already.
Have I really?
Yeah,
Just not that direct. That was very direct.
Yeah.
I watch England play with my my friend, and they are extremely balanced. Now they obviously have a or 2 or 3 good players, but they are really they're hard. They're not like a team that has a Messi.
Right.
But they're really balanced.
They have a lot of really, really, really good players.
Yep.
Well, England versus Argentina, what is that? Is that Sunday?
I don't know.
I think it's Sunday. So,
But you know what I find
care?
fascinating, though, about soccer?
here we go.
All right.
You know,
we'll move on.
don't alienate all of our soccer parents.
And listen, it is
Sunday.
it's kind of what we've said. It is a legitimate sport. I have a lot of appreciation for the talent that goes into it. It's just
Everybody has their thing.
Well, I grew up in an age when
Soccer
America didn't care about it,
Right.
and so I never really developed an appreciation for it. And I'm too old to do anything new, so I get the things I like, and
Get
that's
off
it.
my lawn, you soccer
That's right.
fans.
Hey, on the other hand, we have spent about 12 minutes on soccer.
Yeah.
On today's
Have
issue.
we really?
And I will say this:
Okay.
we have mentioned on the air here several times that it was kind of extraordinary what happened with all these fans coming, especially from Europe, but also from other places in Asia. That people who came to this country for the soccer, their fans coming for their teams, having been raised to think that America was a terrible nation,
Right.
unfriendly people, dangerous,
Yeah.
all that, and they fell in love with the country.
It's been good PR for our country.
Absolutely.
Good PR. And by the way, the Summer Olympics are going to be here in, is it 2 years?
Yeah, 2028.
Back in Los Angeles. So another high-profile international sporting event coming our way.
And President Trump should get the credit for pushing to have this World Cup here.
I thought but you're serious. I thought
No,
you
I'm
were
serious.
About
This way back in 2015, maybe 2016, when he was in office.
The first time.
No.
Pushing to try to get this eventually
He said
here.
Without me, the Olympics wouldn't exist.
The World Cup
man.
wouldn't exist.
I knew that was coming. I thought that's what you were about to do.
No, I was treating it seriously, but
Hey, let me ask you, switching topics altogether. I saw a story, Steve. You're from the West.
I am, but I wanted to add one thing. I want to get to, I know where you're going, but I want to add one thing to the Michigan discussion you guys were having.
Yeah.
Because the candidates, as you guys talked about, are a Republican. I had his name right here. Mike Rogers versus Haley Stevens, the Democrat, versus Abdul Al-Sayed, the DSA candidate. But some people say that it's not actually Haley Stevens, that it actually might be Matt Foley who is running for the Democrats.
Matt Foley.
Yeah.
Who's Matt Foley?
Well, you'll recognize Matt Foley. Cut 9.
You mean Chris
I
Farley?
am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
Yeah, that was Matt Foley was a character on SNL played by Chris Farley.
Okay. The man living in a van down by the river.
Down by the river.
That was Matt Foley.
That was Matt
okay.
Foley was the character name. That's what I was texting, by the way, when we first came on the air.
So her speech right there is being panned because she sounds like
Chris Farley.
Like Chris Farley.
Exactly. Chris Farley's motivational. That was hilarious. When he played the part of he played the part of a motivational speaker on Saturday Night Live.
I just didn't want to be able to pass that up.
and so they're saying she sounds a lot like him.
She does.
And she does. That's pretty uncanny. But
she was serious.
This is actually hurting her chances.
Well,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
well, except for the people who live in vans down by the river.
she's got their vote, that's for sure.
All right. So then, Tim, you were going to ask him about...
So, listen, all over America, there are rivers and lakes that power our country.
Yes.
And, for example, the where we get power from here in Tupelo, Mississippi, and people throughout the Tennessee Valley do, is from the Tennessee River.
Right.
Or the Tombigbee River. Anyway, rivers, the Tennessee Valley Authority, many people have heard of that. So, in order to have rivers and lakes and dams, you got to have rain and water.
Right.
Right? Are y'all following me here?
Yeah. True.
This is science.
Yes, it's right there.
Okay.
Right there next to gravity, law of gravity.
And mask.
So, seriously, out west, Steve, where you're from, you lived in California and Colorado, and
I've been to
Ed,
this
you
place.
lived in Arizona and
New Mexico.
New Mexico. There is people depend on Lake Powell. Am I right?
Lake Powell is a lake at the eastern end of the what's the valley? The big canyon.
Big Valley.
No.
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
Oh, Grand Canyon.
So I have been to this dam. I have been to this lake. And Lake Powell, the Colorado River provides 7 different states with water. Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, New Mexico, California, Arizona, and Nevada all get water from the Colorado River. In 1922, engineers put up a treaty where they divided out who gets how much water, and they vastly overestimated the amount of water that flowed even then down the Colorado, and it has decreased. So right now, Lake Powell is so low, it is that they're thinking that they might not be able to pump water out of the dam at the end of Lake Powell, which is a huge hydroelectric dam. So this is an interesting, the lake, the river, the Colorado River on the other side of this lake, it meanders very slowly and gently, and I remember taking a raft tour. It's one where you sit out with your, sunscreen and you just look at the beautiful, it's gentle flowing. You get down about, as the river flows about 3 hours later, and then you see people loading up provisions in these rafts that are going to go down the rapids of the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon. So, but the river, the Colorado River, supplies water to about 40 million people. It's
including Phoenix, right?
Yeah, in Phoenix, California's Imperial Valley, where how a lot of the country's agriculture comes from, is fed by the Colorado River, and they are thinking that right now, if they lose a whole lot more water, they're not going to be able to pump water through the dam at the.
So they're not getting enough rain or snow to feed the Colorado River, right?
They have had
out west.
They've had the problem has been that they've had a lot less snow than they thought they were going to have than they normally expect last winter. It's been hotter than they normally have now, so a lot more evaporation. And
yeah, that's true. I remember reading this winter about the ski resorts in Utah and Colorado. They didn't have any snow.
Right.
They had They were kept waiting and waiting and waiting. They just didn't have enough snow. They can make snow.
So there was a reduced snowpack in the Rocky Mountains, an earlier snow melt, hotter temperatures, and a multi-year drought that they've been seeing across.
So
the Southeast.
bottom line is, if this continues, they will have to have blackouts or something out west
periodically
to save, in order to keep the energy going.
But now, I think I read this right. Tim, you sent this article last night around to us, that if it becomes what's called a dead power pool, they can't produce any electricity.
No, they can't, because you've got to run it through the dam, and if it gets below the intake of the dam,
in that case, brownouts don't help, because there's
no power.
Yeah, there's just no power for these folks. It's pretty. It's interesting that no matter what our technological advancements are, we are still very often subject to nature. And this has been a multi-year drought that they're experiencing.
Can you imagine the Phoenix area without air conditioning?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know how many people would die?
Right.
I hate to sound morbid, but that's the truth.
Well, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tucson, Los Angeles, San Diego, Denver,
all
those. They all depend.
Where does the Colorado River originate?
In Colorado. It's up in the Rockies.
But I thought it went down to Arizona. You telling me it goes all the way over to California?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it goes. It exits at the bottom, into the Baja Peninsula.
Okay, I could see how states would get into arguments.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, who decides how much water Colorado can sift off? Who decides how much water Nevada or California? Well, I don't know if it goes to Nevada. Well, it does, huh?
Probably go by population. Hey, I got a question. I did not get to read this story, so my question would be, where is this? This goes to show you my personality here. No panic. I'm a non-panicker.
You don't live out west. What do you care?
So no.
We get 60 inches of rain.
What do you care about those poor people out
a year
there?
in Mississippi?
I'm a non-panicker. So, and where is this on the panic scale of things, though? Is this just at the very beginning?
Well, we're about halfway down. We're about halfway there.
They've been talking about this drought for several years, over a couple of years, and if it continues, they're afraid of the dead power pool.
And then my last question would be, what's needed? Basically,
how
what
do you
can
solve it?
Rain and snow.
Rain and snow. We have to wait till next year. By the way, if they don't have water, that means that the crops don't get water. It means a shortage of food in this country. It means your grocery bill is going to climb.
I know what I was going to ask. Do we have any information on has this happened historically at this level? Historically, has this been this low before?
So there is a discussion among climate people of whether this is a drought or whether the land is becoming more arid because there is climate change. Now, man does not cause it.
Right.
But the climate changes, and they've always had droughts out west. But this drought, they seem to be getting longer and longer. And since they divided up the Colorado River unequally, and they had way more water they thought they did than they actually did, this has been a problem for a long time, but this is about as bad as it's gotten.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, historically, to your point, Steve, about climate changing, the part of Africa above the Sahara, where North Africa, we call it North Africa, Egypt and Libya and all that, during Roman times, that was a very fertile.
The Sahara Desert used to be fertile.
And it used to provide all the wheat for the Roman Empire, most of the wheat for the Roman Empire. And now it has become arid.
Yeah.
And so the climate does change. China's having some severe water issues. So this kind of thing does happen on a natural cycle.
Lake Mead and Lake Powell, both on
either end of the Colorado River that we're talking about.
They are the two largest artificial lakes in the country.
Lake Mead Hoover Dam holds Lake Mead back from Las Vegas.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. They need rain.
It's a very interesting story.
Yeah.
Okay, so no more jokes on my end then. Serious.
Listen, if you want rain, move where we live.
We're getting it.
Because I say move where we live. The whole southeastern part of the United States is. Now, occasionally you'll get flooding. But we are blessed to have Gulf moisture, which leads to, roughly 60 inches of rain a year for most of the southeastern the states in the southeast.
And the problem with the part of the country we're talking about is it's on the opposite side of the Rockies from the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
So
other side of the Continental Divide.
Right.
Yeah. So where the Gulf of I'm guessing it's the Gulf of Mexico. Excuse me.
What?
I'm going to get subpoenaed by the White House now.
No, you
Excuse
just made...
me. The Gulf of America.
Right.
Is the proper name. That provides moisture for rain from East Texas over
the Mississippi River feeds
to Virginia.
The Mississippi River is the one that gets it's the major river on the east side of the Rockies, the Mississippi. The Arkansas River, by the way, starts in Colorado.
Come from?
That's what flows into the Gulf of America. The Colorado River falls into the Baja Peninsula.
Have you been texting while I've been talking?
No. I've been listening.
What?
I was talking about rain in the southeast, and we switched over to Mississippi River.
Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. I just didn't know where that. I would know. Please explain to me the connection.
Where the east side of the Rockies gets its water is from the Mississippi River, and we have had a lot of rain. There's not a drought on this side of the Rockies, but they haven't had as much over on the other side. The Colorado River is the main supplier of water west of the Rockies.
Yeah. God bless America. All right. Next story, Steve.
Well,
we all can agree on that, right? God bless America.
Amen.
Amen.
Go, Steve.
Amen.
Go, Steve.
Well, declining costs. This might reverse itself, but as of right now, the inflation is going down, and because gas prices are going down, because things seem to be at least coming to an end with Iraq. So the headline is inflation is cooling sharply as gas prices plunge. Inflation is down to 3.5%, down from 4.2. By the way, it was 9.1 under Joe Biden. So, but if there is a food shortage or an electrical shortage, kiss all of the gains goodbye, because the inflation is going to be going up. And
appreciate your positive outlook,
I know.
Steve.
I'm sorry. I wish I had better news.
It's a blessing to be around you, brother.
But for right now.
Well, this is a story you sent around.
It is.
Tim.
Inflation. I sent it around because the good news is.
It is good news, yeah.
Gas prices are going down, and inflation's going down.
Yes.
Now, it's only for a month so far, but maybe this is a good sign, right?
If the things work out, I mean, as President Trump is trying to wind down the war with Iran, and the bombing that he's doing now, he hopes will finish them off, and we can just put this to bed. They're not going to have any more ways of controlling the Strait of Hormuz. And the markets, I think, see an end to this coming. And so the price of oil is going down, inflation is going down, affordability is going up in this country.
And we don't have to worry about having to eat plant-based meat.
Which I'm always happy for.
I think we have consensus on that one.
Well, absolute consensus.
There's no fear there.
I don't want a veggie burger.
Who thought of this?
Well,
You mean the whole idea?
You know the veggie burger has failed.
Oh, big time.
With Americans. You know that, right?
It's failed with me. I tried it about 6 months ago. I thought, I'm just going to give this a shot. It was awful.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I still have nightmares.
All right, Steve, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks to Fred Jackson, Ed Battagliano, Wesley, Wildmon, Brent Crilly, and Cole Green.
And Asher. May.
See you tomorrow, everybody. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, president of American Family Association and American Family Radio. Hey, we've got some great tours lined up for March of